Hey, welcome back to the Soul Pod. This is Stacy. Today I want to talk about getting spiritually stuck. Have you ever gotten there where you feel like you've plateaued, you've hit a wall, you're not continuing to grow, expand, or something? You're trying to figure out what the next step is, perhaps. I think we've all had this moment from time to time while we're in our spiritual growth. But I wanted to assure you, you'll get through this and you're actually right where you're supposed to be. Moliere said that trees that are slow to grow bear the best fruit. Think about this. This is exactly what's happening with us. You see, we have to be patient. And the problem is, the big challenge is that we're not patient, right? Backing up, let's look at this situation. When I first broke through and I realized, that I was having a spiritual experience, a spiritual expansion, as challenging as it was for me at the time to actually even admit that to myself because I had some charge around the word spiritual. I didn't know how to label what was happening to me, but it was undeniable at some point, so I embraced it. And it was incredible. I kept landing in the right places with the right people at the right time, with the right tools to help me expand and crack open. And just, it was amazing. It was amazing. And it really led to a spiritual euphoria in a way. Have you gotten that before in your spiritual practice where you have things happen that just leave you just buzzing, like internally just vibrating? Something is just really clicking, and then you're like, oh, I want more of that, right? Because we're human. Of course, we want more of that. So then we start looking for it, and we start looking for it. And it, like, maybe we go do the same workshop again, or maybe we go do the same exercise again, or maybe we try the same meditation again, or whatever the thing was. We read the same book to see if we can get it to click that way again, and it's just not working. We hit a wall, we hit a plateau, and we ask ourselves, what's next? What's next? How do I get out of this rut? How do I get moving forward? I want more of that. I want more of that stuff. That was good stuff. How do you get through that? What's next? The problem is that our culture is driven by instant feedback. Like instant feedback, we think about your social media stuff. You want those clicks, man. You want those likes. You want that feedback. You want that buzz, and we become a bit addicted to it, to be honest. But spiritual and personal growth work don't work that way. They don't. Growth in general, education. Think about education is a really good example. Do you remember going to school and they're like, we're going to teach you how to write your name, and then suddenly the next day or the next month you knew the entire alphabet, you knew the whole language, you know how to spell? Of course not. Of course not. It was little bitty pieces at a time over a long period of time that filled that tank of knowledge. It's the same thing with spiritual and personal growth work, where you have to simply be on the path and be open to learning, like a funnel. Just be open. Look for yeses. Look for opportunities to say yes, and especially to things that make you feel uncomfortable, because synchronicities will come your way in your spiritual growth, where something will come along and it'll offer itself to you, and you may not even notice, and then it'll offer it to you again, maybe in a different way. Maybe it's an author you hear the name of and you're like, oh, who's that? Or you a quote that you hear from somebody and you're like, oh, I've never heard of that guy before. And then suddenly that book pops up again in your face again a week later. It's the universe just kind of going, hey, read this book. This is perfect for you. This has happened to me more than once. And then, the book just falls in my lap as well, which is just crazy, out of nowhere. That's one example, but keep yourself open like a funnel and understand that this is going to be a long journey. You may think you're at a plateau. You're not. You're just at that point where you're at the kindergarten table learning to write your name, and you can't expect that you're going to know the alphabet in a day, or you're going to know how to spell words or write an essay or the full language in a short period of time. You are learning right now. But the only reason you're learning and growing and expanding and on that spiritual journey is because you're open. You're open. And it's slowly but surely the universe is throwing beautiful stuff into that funnel. You may not feel like you're expanding at this moment, but what's going to happen is you have expansions. Some of them are really big moments, some of them are really small moments, but you have to stay open to get it constantly. When you get frustrated and you shut down, you're like, oh man, my spiritual growth is done. It's not done. It's still happening. It's happening at this very moment that you're watching this video, because this is clicking some ideas in your mind that are reminding you that this is big. This is constant. This is lifetime, and it's good. So you may feel like you hit a plateau, like you're spiritually stuck, right? And patience is the key. You got to be patient with yourself. Remember, you're not going to get all the clicks and all the likes and all the buzz and all the vibration all at once. Just be patient. Look for those yeses. Be patient with yourself. And catch yourself in your voice telling you these BS stories about like, oh, I've paused. You haven't paused. You're still going. You're just waiting for the next thing to come along that's going to jump into your funnel. Just be patient and be empathetic with yourself on this journey. Try to stand outside of yourself watching this journey that you are on, this beautiful human journey that you are on, that you alone get to witness. You are the only full-time witness to everything that happens in your life. And as I said before, this is one of the reasons we're so hard on ourselves, because we see the bad stuff too, the stuff we got wrong, and the judgments we have about ourselves. This is why I say that empathy is really important here. Because yes, sometimes we don't get it right. Sometimes we get it damned wrong. But when we can be empathetic with ourselves, understanding that, yeah, you know what? Boy, I didn't get that right, but I'm still a good person. I know I'm a good person, and I can do better. It's having empathy for yourself. And the more you can stand outside yourself and maybe even be in meditation, your soul witnessing you being the best person you can be, that's a lovely place to get to, because empathy just explodes there. It just wraps itself around you like a big, huge hug. Oh, it's beautiful. The great Lao Tzu said that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Now, we've all heard this quote. Most of us haven't heard the second half of it, which is, and each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to your truth. Closer to your truth. Every step, every little step that I'm talking about with this funnel, each one of those is just a little piece of it that's coming in, is bringing you closer to your truth. That helps with your expansion, with your growth, with your beauty, with your everything, with this journey, this beautiful spiritual journey that you're on in this life. It's a single step, and then another, and then another, and then another. Stay open. Stay open. And I want to also touch on this thing that we tend to do, where we see other people's spiritual journeys and we go, oh, mine's not going like that. Now, maybe you follow a bunch of great social media posts, different groups, and you see something that someone's posting. I have a friend who is a life coach, spiritual coach, and shaman in Bali. And I see his posts all the time, and I'm like, wow. And I got another friend who's a very successful astrologer living in Costa Rica. And these guys, man, they're hot reels. They're little pops that, I'm getting these little flashes of their life and these moments of incredible stuff that they're doing. And it would be really easy for me to look at those things and go, wow, man, they're kicking butt. This sucks. This thing I got going on, like I'm not at that level. I'm not getting there. But comparison is the thief of joy. It is. And I guarantee that both of those guys, if I were to ask them, would say the same thing. They also struggle with the same deal when they look at other people's highlight reels, So don't let yourself get drugged down by seeing other people's highlight reels and compare. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it will steal your joy if you let it. So when you notice those things, you notice those silly thoughts coming in, just go, it's just a highlight reel, man. That's your mantra, okay? Free mantra. It's just a highlight reel, man. All it is. And good for them, for what they're getting, how they're growing, how they're expanding, how they're helping, all these beautiful spiritual things that are happening in their lives. Your work is you. Another thing I want to talk about is perfectionism. Not everyone's a perfectionist, but some of us are, and this thing can be a major trap. If you're looking at other people's highlight reels, or you have an internal voice, whether it has anything to do with their highlight reels or not, and you're saying, I'm not getting this right. There's no right. There's no right. If you have anything like that at all, whether it's I'm not getting this right, I'm not doing this fastest, there's people who do this better, whatever. Screw that nonsense. That's garbage. That's a lie you're telling yourself. There's no track speed. There's no path that we're supposed to move at a specific speed on this thing. There's no checks that we're supposed to check off as we go. Okay? This isn't a race. It's a lifelong journey. And there's imperfection all over it. And that's part of the beauty of it. Our soul's sitting inside of our body, and it's this silent passenger that's just in this taxi cab we call a body. And we're getting to do all the driving, and it's just along for the ride, man. And this human journey gives our soul the opportunity to do something it can't do as a soul, and that's to fuck up, to blow it, to make mistakes, to just get it wrong. And then also to explore the beautiful things in life, like all the nuances of love, the way you love your children, the way you love your spouse, the way you love a stranger on the street, the way you love a pet, like all those things. And we get stuff wrong all the time. If you're giving yourself a hard time about not getting this done, not getting to whatever mark you have in your head in a particular time because you have perfectionist issues, drop that stuff, man. Remind yourself, get a mantra or something and say, easy does it, you know, step by step, no rush, whatever it is, day by day, just take it a step at a time. Get a little mantra and just remind yourself when you hear that voice creep up on you, to just be quiet. Hush. Hush is a good mantra. Hush. It's nice and soft, isn't it? Spiritual awakening can feel like falling apart before you come together. Really, we talk about the beautiful stuff in spiritual awakening, those buzzes, those moments, the vibrations, like the stuff that just makes you fall in love with it and want more. But it really is, there's a personal collapse that happens for most of us before we get there. And there are moments along that path. It's like we're running a race and every now and then we just fall over. We got to get up, dust ourselves off, and keep moving forward. It is, we're falling apart before coming together. That's a beautiful thing. Once you're aware that you're on a spiritual journey and you have that moment, and you're like, wow, maybe you're there, maybe you're not. Probably are if you're watching this. If you've admitted to yourself, wow, I'm on a spiritual journey, which you have been your entire life from the moment you were born, because this is your soul driving this body around planet Earth, seeing what happens, right? This once in a lifetime carnival ride you call your life. But once you realize that this is a spiritual awakening and a spiritual journey, patience. Patience is important because this is a lifelong journey. This isn't a destination. It's an adventure. And be open to the adventure and be patient with the adventure. Slowly but surely, you move yourself down that road, and it's just such a beautiful journey. So today, I want to invite you to, if you feel like you're plateaued, if you're stuck, if you're spiritually stuck, do this. Take a moment to integrate spirituality into small little pieces of your life. Sit outside, watch the leaves blow in a tree. Just one little thing, just watch the leaves blow in a tree. Or maybe, and outside's always best, there's something about us and nature. We're part of nature and we forget. But maybe you just sit and listen to the sounds of any animals you can pick out, squirrels, birds, crickets, anything. And focus on those things and realize that this is part of your experience here on earth, this connection with all these things. Maybe what you're listening to is highway sounds. Maybe you're in a city and you're hearing horns honking. That too is part of the human experience. These are other people making people noises. And just sit with it. Just sit with it. Let nothing else matter for a short period of time, as long as you feel comfortable doing it. It can be a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour, whatever you want to do. Just be with that. And realize that you're not stuck. You're just moving a little bit slower right now. The time will come when another synchronicity will drop in your lap. And if your funnel's open, it'll just come right in. I want to end with a quote from the great Rumi, who said, patience does not mean passively enduring. It means to be farsighted enough to trust the end result of a process. This is a process you're in, this spiritual journey, and it's not going to be over until the last breath you take. Think about that. Every breath you take, every step, that direction down this road we call life takes you closer to the end of this spiritual journey. Embrace every second of it, because every moment of our life is an opportunity to become the best you can be. We all have this opportunity. Recognize our warts and our imperfections and the things we got wrong and where we stumbled and where we could have done better, and keep trying to do better. to be open, to get outside of our comfort zone, to love people, if only in here and here, to just allow ourselves to be here in this moment we call life. Be open. Be farsighted enough to trust the end result of a process, this process we call the human journey. Thank you for being here. Thanks for watching the channel. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe. And if you haven't checked out the Soul Podcast yet, check that out. You're going to like it. If you like this, you're going to love the Soul Podcast. We'll go a little bit deeper into some of these topics. I've put a bit more research in there. Every now and then I have a great guest. So follow that anywhere, or check that out anywhere you watch podcasts. There's some links in the show notes below. If this was useful for you, leave me a comment in the comment section here. Leave everybody a comment. It's not for me. It's for anybody who happens to read it. I read it too. I read all the comments. So if you have something to share, if this was useful, if this wasn't useful, if you have advice that has worked for you as well when you get spiritually stuck, share that, because those are gems. I don't pretend to know everything, and I learn new stuff all the time. And a lot of it comes from somebody just having the guts to say, oh, by the way, I did this and it worked great. So do that. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.